I never imagined I'd face death and return with a story that would change everything. During a near-death experience, I encountered something extraordinary that left me forever transformed. I'm Helen, and in that moment of crossing over, I found myself in the presence of Jesus. What he revealed to me about the mysterious M mark on our hands shook me to my core and unveiled truths I had never known. I've been carrying this story in my heart, and now I feel it's time to share it with the world. I hope my testimony brings you comfort, clarity, and a deeper connection to your spiritual journey. It all began on what seemed like an ordinary day. I had no idea that my life would change forever. I was on my way home from work, feeling a little off, but thinking it was just fatigue. As I drove, I suddenly felt a sharp pain in my chest. My vision blurred, and before I knew it, my car swerved off the road. Everything went dark. When I opened my eyes, I wasn't in the car anymore. I was floating above it. I saw paramedics rushing to my lifeless body. The scene was surreal, like watching a movie about someone else. But the strangest part was that I wasn't scared. I felt a calmness, a peace that words can't describe. It was as if I knew, deep down, that I was being taken care of. As I hovered above the scene, I realized something incredible. I wasn't tethered to my body. I could see everything clearly, hear the frantic voices of the paramedics, and even sense their emotions. But I wasn't sad or afraid. Instead, I felt curious. Where was I going? What was happening to me? That's when I noticed a light in the distance. It wasn't harsh or blinding, but soft and inviting, like a warm embrace calling me home. Home. I felt an inexplicable pull toward it, as though every part of my being was drawn to this light. I didn't resist. I let myself drift toward it, leaving the chaotic scene behind. I didn't know it then, but this was the beginning of a journey that would change everything I thought I knew about life, death, and the meaning of existence. The ordinary day I had started was about to become the most extraordinary experience of my life. As I moved toward the light, I felt a strange yet comforting sensation. It was as though all the burdens I had carried, stress, fear, doubt, were being stripped away with every step. The closer I got, the more weightless I became, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. The moment I crossed into the light, I realized I was no longer alone. There was an overwhelming presence surrounding me, something that radiated love, warmth, and acceptance. I instinctively knew it was Jesus. Even before I saw him, I felt his essence, a purity so profound that it brought me to tears. Then I saw him. Jesus stood there, and his appearance took my breath away. He was black. His skin was a deep, rich tone, and his hair, like wool, added to his regal presence. Seeing him in this way brought a sense of profound connection and pride. It felt like a confirmation of the divine in all of us. His eyes were filled with compassion and understanding, and his gaze was deep, inviting, and seemed to look straight into my soul. The kindness in his expression was overwhelming. A love so pure that it transcended any human experience I had ever known. He didn't say a word at first, but I knew he understood everything about me, every struggle, every mistake, every triumph. It felt like time didn't exist in this space. I could have stood there forever, basking in the unconditional love he exuded. Then Jesus reached out his hand to me. He didn't speak through words, but his message was clear. Come closer. As I stepped forward, I noticed something remarkable. My hands, which I had always thought of as ordinary, began to glow faintly. That's when he pointed to the faint mark on my palm, a mark I had always dismissed as a simple crease in my skin. "You've always carried this mark," he said, his voice like a melody. "It's a sign of your purpose, a reminder that you were created with intention and love." Those words struck a chord deep within me. I had always doubted my worth, questioned my purpose, but in that moment, everything became clear. My journey wasn't over, it was just beginning. After my initial encounter with Jesus, I felt a gentle pull guiding me further into the light. It was as though I was walking through a tunnel, but it wasn't a physical place. The tunnel was filled with colors that seemed to vibrate with life, shimmering hues of gold, blue, and white that pulsed with a rhythm I could feel in my soul. As I moved through this tunnel, I noticed memories from my life playing out around me. They weren't just random moments, they were the ones that carried emotional weight. Times I had felt joy, pain, love, and even regret. It was as if the tunnel was showing me the impact of my actions, not in a judgmental way, but as a way to help me understand my journey. In the distance, I saw what looked like an opening, but it wasn't just light. It was a realm that felt alive. The closer I got, the more I could sense the energy of countless souls. They weren't visible in a physical sense, but their presence was undeniable. Each one seemed to radiate love and peace, as if they were waiting to welcome me home. The tunnel itself seemed to be alive, pulsating with divine energy. It wasn't just a passage, it was a transition, a bridge between the physical world I had left behind and the spiritual realm I was entering. It was here, in this space, that I began to understand the true nature of my existence. I wasn't just a body, I was a soul, eternal and connected to something far greater than I had ever imagined. The journey through the tunnel wasn't just a passage, it was a revelation. Every step I took brought me closer to understanding my purpose and the divine love that had been with me all along. Emerging from the tunnel, I found myself in a place that words struggle to describe. It wasn't just beautiful, it was perfect. A realm filled with a peace and harmony that felt like the very essence of love. The light here wasn't just light, it was alive, radiating warmth and wisdom. Standing at the center of this radiant place was Jesus. His presence was overwhelming, not in a fearful way, but in a way that made me feel completely known and loved. He wasn't just a figure I saw. He was a presence I felt in every part of my being. As I approached him, he extended his hands to me, and I noticed something that took my breath away. His hands bore marks, not scars of pain, but symbols of his sacrifice and love. It was then that he directed my attention to my own hands. I looked down and saw the faint M mark glowing softly on my palms. Jesus smiled and said, "This mark is a sign of who you are and what you're meant to do. Every soul carries unique marks, reminders of their connection to the divine and their purpose on earth." His words filled me with a sense of clarity and purpose I had never felt before. I realized that this mark wasn't just a random crease in my hand. It was a divine imprint, a message from God that I had a role to play in His plan. In that moment, everything I had ever doubted about myself faded away. I understood that I was part of something far greater than I could comprehend, and that my life, no matter how ordinary it seemed, was deeply meaningful in the eyes of God. As I stood in awe before Jesus, his gaze shifted to my hands, and he smiled knowingly. "You've always wondered about this mark, haven't you?" he asked gently. His words stunned me because he was right. I had always noticed the faint M shape on my palms, but thought nothing of it. It seemed like a natural crease, something everyone had. But now, in his presence, it began to glow faintly, as if responding to his word. Jesus explained that the M mark was not a random occurrence. "It is a reminder," he said, "a signature from the Creator, written into the design of many hands. It stands for more than you realize. It symbolizes mission, mercy, and manifestation." These words struck me deeply. He went on to explain that this mark was a spiritual imprint, a way to show that each person has a divine mission unique to them. He shared that people with this mark often carry a sense of responsibility, even if they don't fully understand why. "You've felt it, haven't you?" he asked. I nodded. I had always felt a pull toward helping others, even when it seemed inconvenient or challenging. "That feeling," he continued, "is your soul's recognition of its mission." Jesus explained that the mark also represented mercy, God's mercy, and the mercy we are called to show others. "It is a reminder to lead with love, to forgive, and to uplift," he said. Lastly, he revealed that the mark symbolized manifestation, the power to bring divine intentions into reality through faith and action. Hearing this made me realize that the M wasn't just a mark on my hands, but a divine message encoded in my being. It wasn't just a part of me, it was a part of God's plan. After revealing the significance of the M mark, Jesus led me into a space that felt both timeless and personal. Suddenly, my entire life began to play out before me, not as a series of disconnected memories, but as a vivid tapestry of choices, actions, and consequences. It was as though I was watching a movie of my own life, but with a new perspective, one filled with clarity and understanding. What stood out to me most was how even my smallest actions had ripple effects. Moments I had dismissed as trivial now seemed monumental. For instance, a simple act of kindness, like helping a stranger, had set off a chain reaction of positivity that touched lives I had never even met. Conversely, moments of anger or neglect revealed the unintended hurt they had caused. Making the realization pulled. Jesus didn't judge or condemn me as I watched these events unfold. Instead, his presence radiated understanding and compassion. "Every choice matters," he said, "but it's never too late to grow and change." He showed me that while I couldn't undo the past, I had the power to shape my future by aligning my actions with love and purpose. The most profound realization came when I saw how my life connected with others. It was as if every relationship, no matter how fleeting, was a thread in a vast web. "You are never alone," Jesus said. "Your life is this." It was about learning. I saw where I had succeeded and where I could do better. I understood that every moment offered an opportunity to align with God's love and fulfill the mission represented by the MIM mark on my hands. After reviewing my life, Jesus delved deeper into the significance of the mark. He explained that this mark was like a spiritual blueprint, a guide to help me navigate my earthly journey. It's not just a symbol, he said. It's a message that you were created with intention and equipped with everything you need to fulfill your divine purpose. Jesus revealed that the M held layers of meaning unique to each person who carried it. For some, it symbolized their role as healers or helpers, bringing comfort to others in times of need. For others, it was a reminder of their capacity to inspire and lead, showing the way through faith and courage. Regardless of its specific meaning, the M was a universal sign of connection to the divine. He also explained that the mark served as a beacon, drawing people toward their higher calling. Have you ever wondered why certain opportunities or challenges seem to find you? He asked. I nodded, thinking of times when I had felt pushed in unexpected direction. That's the mark at work, he said. It's a signal that aligns you with the paths meant for your growth and service. But the mark wasn't just about personal purpose, it was about unity. Jesus explained that those with the M were part of a greater spiritual family, connected by their shared mission to bring love and light into the world. You are not alone, he said. Your journey is part of a much larger plan, one that unfolds with every act of faith, kindness, and courage. Hearing this gave me a profound sense of responsibility and hope. The M wasn't just a mark on my hands, it was a divine promise, a reminder that my life had meaning and that I was never truly lost. After explaining the spiritual blueprint of the M mark, Jesus began to share messages of hope and redemption. His words were simple yet powerful, carrying a weight that seemed to sink deep into my soul. No matter where you are in life, he said, you are always loved. There is nothing you have done that cannot be forgiven. These words struck me like lightning. I had always carried guilt for mistakes I had made, moments when I felt I had fallen short. But Jesus' voice was filled with so much love and understanding that it melted away the shame I had been holding on to. He explained that redemption wasn't about earning forgiveness. It was about accepting it and letting go of the burdens that held me back. He also spoke about hope, emphasizing that every challenge we face is an opportunity for growth. The trials you endure are not punishments, he said. They are lessons designed to strengthen your faith and reveal your true self. He showed me glimpses of my own struggles, moments when I had felt lost or broken, and how each one had ultimately led to greater understanding and resilience. Jesus reminded me that the M mark was a symbol of this hope. Every time you look at your hands, remember that you are a work in progress, he said. You are growing, learning, and becoming the person God created you to be. His message wasn't just for me, it was for everyone. Tell them, he said, that they are loved beyond measure, that they are never alone, and that their lives have meaning. He urged me to share this testimony so that others could find the hope and redemption that he had offered me in that moment. As Jesus spoke, the space around us began to shift, revealing glimpses of what I can only describe as a higher realm. It wasn't just a place, it was a state of existence, alive with beauty and harmony beyond anything I could have imagined. The air itself seemed to hum with a divine melody, a sound that resonated in my soul and filled me with a profound sense of belonging. This realm was illuminated by a light that didn't cast shadows. It wasn't just light, it was life, radiating warmth and energy that flowed through everything. I saw landscapes that shimmered with colors I couldn't name, rivers that sparkled as if made of liquid light, and fields of flowers that seemed to sing in harmony. Every detail, felt alive and purposeful, as though the entire realm was an extension of God's love. What stood out the most were the beings I encountered. They weren't just spirits or souls, they were radiant presences exuding peace and joy. Each being carried a unique light, yet they all seemed connected, as if part of a single divine source. Some of them felt familiar, though I couldn't place how I knew them. I realized they were souls I had crossed paths with during my life, connected to me through love and shared experiences. As I took in this breathtaking vision, Jesus explained that this realm wasn't separate from us. It is always here, he said. You are simply unable to perceive it fully in your earthly form. He told me that the beauty I was seeing was a reflection of the divine potential within every soul. This is what awaits those who live with love, faith, and purpose. This vision wasn't just a glimpse of heaven. It was a reminder of what life could be when aligned with God's will. It filled me with hope, knowing that this higher realm was not a distant dream, but a reality we could begin to access through our actions and faith. After showing me the higher realm, Jesus turned his attention to the life I had left behind. He spoke with clarity and love, giving me guidance not just for myself, but for everyone who would hear my story. Your time on earth is precious, he began. Every moment is an opportunity to grow, to love, and to fulfill your purpose. He explained that our lives are not defined by grand achievements, but by the small acts of kindness and compassion we show each day. The world measures success in wealth and power, he said, but the Creator values the love you give and the lives you touch. This simple truth struck me deeply, making me reflect on the times I had taken those small moments for granted. Jesus also spoke about forgiveness, urging me to let go of grudges and resentment. Forgiveness isn't just for others, he said. It's a gift you give yourself, a way to free your heart from the weight of anger and pain. He showed me how holding on to negativity had dimmed my light and how letting go could bring peace and clarity. He also encouraged me to share this message with others, not through preaching but by living it. A reflection of love and grace, he said. Let your actions speak louder than words. He emphasized that everyone has the capacity to make a difference, no matter how small their actions may seem. This guidance felt like a roadmap, a way to navigate the challenges of life with faith and purpose. It was a call to live intentionally, to recognize the divine in ourselves and others, and to use our time on earth to create ripples of love and kindness that extend far beyond our understanding. After all I had seen and heard, Jesus presented me with a choice: to remain in the peace of this divine realm or to return to my earthly life. It was a decision that carried immense weight, and I struggled to find the right answer. The love and serenity of this realm were so overwhelming that the thought of leaving felt almost impossible. But Jesus reminded me of my purpose. You still have work to do, he said gently. Your journey isn't complete. He explained that my experiences and the wisdom I had gained weren't meant to stay with me. They were meant to be shared. Your story will inspire others, giving them hope and faith when they need it most. I thought about my family, my friends, and all the people I had yet to meet. I realized that while this realm felt like home, my heart still held a deep connection to the world I had left behind. I understood that my time on earth wasn't finished, and that returning meant embracing my mission with renewed faith and purpose. As I struggled with the decision, Jesus reassured me that this realm wasn't going anywhere. "You will return here when the time is right," he said. "For now, go back and live fully. Share what you've learned and be a light in the darkness." With his words giving me strength, I made the choice to return. It wasn't easy, but I knew it was the right decision. I felt a pull back toward my body, a sensation of being gently guided. Before I knew it, I was opening my eyes in the physical world. The first thing I noticed was the dull ache in my body. I was in a hospital bed, surrounded by machines and the worried faces of my family. Their relief was palpable as they saw me awake, but my mind was elsewhere, still reeling from the profound experience I had just undergone. Everything felt different. The world seemed both familiar and foreign, as though I was seeing it through new eyes. Colors were brighter, sounds sharper, and the faces of my loved ones carried a depth of meaning I had never noticed before. I realized that I had been given a second chance, a chance to live with purpose and to share the message Jesus had entrusted to me. The hardest part was explaining what had happened. How do you put something so profound into words? I began slowly, sharing bits and pieces with those closest to me. Some listened with awe, others with skepticism, but I knew it didn't matter. My role wasn't to convince anyone. It was simply to share the truth as I had experienced it. Over time, I began to notice changes within myself. I was more patient, more forgiving, and more attuned to the needs of others. The M mark on my hands, which I had once dismissed, now served as a constant reminder of my mission. Whenever I doubted myself, I would look at my palms and remember Jesus' words. "You are loved, you are chosen, you have a purpose." Returning to Earth wasn't easy, but it was worth it. I knew that my story wasn't just about me. It was a message of hope for anyone who felt lost or unworthy, and so I began to share, knowing that every word carried the potential to touch a life and remind someone that they too are part of God's greater plan. A new perspective. After my near-death experience, life as I knew it was forever changed. I returned to my earthly existence, but I wasn't the same person. Everything felt different, my thoughts, my emotions, even the way I interacted with others. It was as though the veil of everyday life had been lifted, and I could now see the deeper meaning in every moment. The first thing I noticed was an overwhelming sense of peace. Problems that once caused me anxiety now seemed insignificant in the grand scheme of things. I found myself approaching challenges with a calmness and faith I had never experienced before. Life didn't suddenly become easier, but I understood that every difficulty had a purpose, a lesson meant to guide me closer to God. Relationships became more meaningful too. I began to value the people in my life in ways I never had before. I took the time to listen, to express gratitude, and to show love in small, intentional ways. I realized that the connections we form with others are some of the most sacred parts of our earthly journey. Every interaction became an opportunity to share love and light, reflecting the lesson Jesus had taught me, that I was here for a reason. I didn't have to change the world in grand ways. I just had to live with intention, kindness, and faith. Each day became a chance to align my actions with the mission Jesus had revealed to me. The mark of a mission. The transformation wasn't just internal, it radiated outward. People began to notice the change in me. They would comment on how calm or positive I seemed, even in difficult situations. Some asked about my experience, and I shared it with anyone willing to listen. My story wasn't just mine, it was a testament to the power of faith, love, and the divine plan that connects us all. The mem mark on my hands, which I had once overlooked, became a guiding light in my life. After my encounter with Jesus, I began to see it not just as a physical feature, but as a divine signpost, a constant reminder of my spiritual mission. It was as though my hands, so ordinary before, now carried a sacred significance. At first, I was hesitant to talk about the mark. I wondered if others would think I was imagining things. But as I began to share my story, I realized that many people had noticed the same mark on their own hands and felt drawn to its meaning. Some saw it as a symbol of protection, others as a sign of their connection to God. For me, it was all those things and more. It was a reminder of Jesus' love and the mission he had entrusted to me. The mark became a conversation starter, a way to connect with others on a deeper level. When people asked about it, I shared what Jesus had told me, that the M stood for mission, mercy, and manifestation. I explained how it symbolized our purpose on earth, our capacity to show compassion, and our ability to bring God's love into the world through our actions. I also began to see the mark as a source of strength. On days when I felt lost or overwhelmed, I would look at my hands and remember Jesus' word. You are loved, you are chosen, you have a purpose. Those words became my anchor, guiding me through challenges and reminding me that I was never alone. The M mark wasn't just a feature of my hands, it was a spiritual blueprint, a message from God written into my very being. It was a sign that I was part of something greater, a divine plan that connected me to others and to the Creator. A message for everyone. As I reflect on my near-death experience, I am filled with gratitude for the chance to share my story. What Jesus revealed to me wasn't just meant for me. It was a message for everyone. We are all part of a divine plan, connected by love and purpose, and the M mark on our hands is a symbol of that truth. Jesus' words continue to resonate in my heart. You are loved. You are chosen. You have a purpose. These words aren't just for me. They are for anyone who has ever doubted their worth or felt lost in the chaos of life. They are a reminder that no matter where you are or what you've been through, you are deeply loved by the Creator. The M mark is more than just a physical feature. It's a divine reminder to live with intention, to show mercy, and to manifest love in everything we do. It's a call to embrace our mission, no matter how big or small it may seem, and to trust that every action we take can create ripples of goodness that extend far beyond what we can see. If there's one thing I hope you take from my story, it's this: your life has meaning. You are here for a reason, and the love of God is with you always. No matter how difficult life may seem, remember that you are never alone. Look at your hands and let the M mark remind you of your connection to the divine and the incredible purpose you were created for. Thank you for allowing me to share my experience. I pray that it brings you hope, faith, and a deeper understanding of the love that surrounds us all.